After the 20th anniversary, I lost hope in anyone coming up with something good for the special episodes. When you treat something like 20 years as an afterthought, whether the company admits to it or not, as a fan, how do you think I'll see Saban Brands and the producers of the series? Not on good terms. Then, with most of the seasons not being decent, I really had no expectations. Even though Ninja Steel isn't a good season, something good came out of it. I'm not going to say this was the best anniversary episode done, that still goes to Forever Red, but it's easily the second best. I always said anniversaries don't have to do much. Pick past characters, I don't really care which, some old ones, some recent ones, some in between, and just give them a simple story, big to justify bringing back old Rangers, and feature them good enough.
Explanations.
Let's start right at the beginning. A major criticism fans give the show, including me, was the poor handling of RPM in Samurai and Super Megaforce, and the recent ending of Dino Charge. The episode took a few minutes out of its way to check off a lot of things. It reintroduces us to Wes, Koda, and Gemma, by far the most important pieces of the puzzle. Thank God we had a future time travel season. Time Force always saves the day with stuff like this. Everyone is covered in cloaks. Even though Andros isn't here, we know Wes probably picked them up from him, and this keeps with PR's overdramatic moments you expect in their specials. Then Koda openly confirms that his team is from another universe. While that mess doesn't get any better, it allows MMPR, Dino Thunder, and all the times we saw dinosaur bones on the show to make sense. It also confirms Ninja Steel is in the main universe with everyone else. Plus, the control device that opens the portals is from the comics. It's a big wall of info dumping, but it does help kids who never saw RPM and fills in some of the gaps that older fans care about.
Returning Rangers.
I thought all the choices of the Rangers that came back were all good ones. You have the required Tommy, which worked into the main story well. Kat coming back for the first time since her departure from Turbo, if you ignore her voice work in Forever Red. Rocky, who I got super annoyed that he was missing in Forever Red. Can't go wrong with TJ, he's been in nearly every team up. Antonio was an odd choice, but since Mike and Emily were wasted in Super Megaforce, Antonio was the next best thing. No problems there. Gemma coming back was perfect. Seeing anyone physically from RPM is always a plus, but Gemma could be used as an off-screen answer to some of the tech used in the episode, since she knows how to work with the morphing grid. Koda was a no-brainer, with the Blue Rangers being brothers, him being a fan favorite, and he's probably used to traveling through portals at this point. Out of everyone from Megaforce, Gia was one of the best choices. She always had the least amount of problems as a character, plus Gia could fit into any team and not clash with something. I had no problems of her not using the Super Megaforce suit. Gia could also be used as an off-screen way that Gemma came up with the Master Morpher tech, adapting the Ranger Key idea. For Trent, he was just filler, but there's no issues. Him being there was a plus. It keeps post-Dino Thunder in the forefront of your mind, and it gives him more screen time that he lacked since he was evil for a good chunk of it.
The Master Morpher.
This was a really good idea. I will always say the Powell Morpha is one of the most versatile morphers out there thanks to its coin system. It gives a simple way for Tommy to switch between all his past powers. Fans could give many different explanations on how this got created. It can be powered by his Black Dino Gem and Red Zeo Crystal, designed by Haley or Gemma, using tech from the Ranger Key system since Tommy knew Gia from Super Megaforce. This could all have happened back in Super Megaforce, explaining how he was able to switch between Green and White Ranger. It's a good way to sell a new toy. It removes the cumbersome problem of Tommy switching to different morphers each time, and it also honors aspects of each morph. Switching to Green Ranger powers, he called out Dragonzord. To White Ranger, he used the Season 2 and 3 White Ranger power call out. For Zeo, he used his Zeo Ranger 5 Red, all while doing the hand gestures that he would do for each morph. That's how you do fan service. Small little things like that, and the overall design of it was good. Basic gold power morpher with a new green back for his Green Ranger powers. The bottom half has the Zeo circuitry, the top having a headlight pattern referencing his turbo powers, the black bolts for Black Dino Thunder. No coin is inserted until he calls out for a certain Ranger.
Clone Army.
The last anniversary failed in this department. What was left over for the fight was a huge army of X-Borgs. It was so underwhelming. I know they were stuck with Sentai footage, but still, when you call past Rangers, it needs to be for a reason, a big threat of some kind. The Clone Army was good. They're fighting evil versions of the Self. It's been done a million times before. They even have the usual black collar change, but it wouldn't have been possible if they weren't captured in the first place. Tommy was replaced by a clone robot. Draven's plan could have easily continued if Wes and everyone didn't stop him. Robot Tommy was slowly tricking people into following him, and that would have formed an endless clone army taking over the 3 universes. Simple and works fine.
Everyone speaks.
I hate that I have to list this, all because of last time. Everyone spoke in the anniversary. Each ranger got a few lines here and there, while Tommy and Wes were the bulk of the speaking roles. Each character felt like themselves. I know some people complained about Gemma. It didn't feel like her. She's supposed to be insane. Talk about blowing stuff up. It's a different dynamic here. Jim is not with her, so the finishing each other lines couldn't be done, and I don't mind her crazy nature not being on display. One, it doesn't have to be done all the time, and there was an episode in RPM where she works with Flynn. She already showed she can work away from Jem. At best, this is just a nitpick, because she can show emotions other than just hyper. Could everyone have gotten more lines? Yeah, but that's the fault of the episode only being one part. This is a show that has 16 characters, very little time to focus on everyone.
Hinted backstory.
One of the things that was going on in the background was that everyone knew Draven and his plan before the episode. So Wes and the others were gathering intel or even engaging against Draven somewhere else. This could be what the past Rangers are doing while the Ninja Steel Rangers are fighting Odious. They could easily come up with some story around this premise. It's possible he was another villain that found out about the different dimensions, maybe from Vengeance himself. They could be using this as a backdoor way to set up something in Beast Morphers. They could be loosely referencing a Shattered Grid comic. I know the episode was written before the comic was done, but it can easily be connected to any of these ideas if the writers choose to expand on it. Maybe Draven is Vengeance himself. Anything's possible.
Abilities used.
A lot of times in these specials, stuff like power-ups and side weapons are mostly never used in team-ups. Forever Red doesn't have Carter called Unilaser, for example. At least here, they use some of the Ranger stuff to move the story. Tommy was the first Ranger to escape, not because he was the lead in the episode, but because his Dino Gem powered of invisibility got him out. West used his Chrono Blaster, Tommy used his Falcon Zord, and everyone else used their sidearms. Even Coda used his Better Smelling to help locate Draven's building. Simple fan service.
Tommy vs. Tommy.
In my Forever Red video, I talked about how the episode brought back other subtle elements like how Carter fought with his sidearm, everyone had their fighting styles. Tommy's Ranger fight against the evil robot did the same thing. When Power Rangers came back, they didn't really focus on wire work that much like the Disney era did. They went with more traditional fighting. Here, each Tommy Power fought as he did in the seasons. Evil Tommy was using Dino Thunder power, so he fought more aerial and did the overly used shockwave slow-mo kicks. Zeo Ranger used his rush attacks with his sword, while the White Ranger, the more floaty wire work. A lot of care went into this fight scene. It sucks that the fight got cut down.
It wasn't the season finale.
This was a huge mistake in the last anniversary. You are telling 2 big stories in one episode. Nothing got serviced right. If you want to make an anniversary episode, it has to just be that. You are bringing back old faces that should be one of the main focuses of said episode. You cannot also end the season in the same episode. The pacing on the story is going to be messed up. Important things are going to be rushed or cut out. Things that fans expect or want to see focused on are going to be missing or messed up. Examples such as half the guest cast not speaking, and it will feel like an insult to the current cast. It makes them look unimportant. Who cares about their ending? Seeing the old faces matter more. Even if they didn't intend this, it ends up turning into this. A season finale has to be a season finale, nothing more. I'm so glad that this took place in the middle. Would it have been better as a 2-parter? Yes, but I'll take this over than the former. Can you imagine Dimensions was also Ninja Steel's finale? It would have been complete crap. I remember another sci-fi show 13 years ago pulling that stunt, and no one liked it there either.
Logical storytelling.
While the plot is very simple, it also covers some of the plot holes that would have arisen in the story if they hadn't discussed them. Even while it being so fast-paced, it gave enough time to rectify things I would have complained about, such as the arrows. There's 3 arrows that have the power to destroy the barrier between universes. It's a similar idea to that Time Force episode where Wes and Jen have to shoot at the same spot. The first thing that comes to your mind, why don't they shoot all 3? Quick line from Odious is that Draven has to wait until the barrier glows red. The arrows take time to weaken the wall. If the Rangers have this portal tech, why don't they jump around universes all the time? Coda says the portals weaken the morphing grid, so it has to be used sparingly at the risk of losing it. This helps block complaints of using this tech in other ways. Judd Lin learned his lesson from the Energem locator. Wes shot out the main component of the clone machine. This blocks Draven from having an endless supply of clone rangers he can pump out. This is a good example on how to cover up plot hole arguments. Is it perfect? No. Enough time, someone is going to think of a way to get around all this, but there's no immediate questions and problems from watching it the first time. Is Dimensions in Danger flawless? No. There's things that suck. Why did Kat use her turbo powers? I personally like that Tommy never used them again. It shows that TJ is the owner of those powers, and Kat has been 3 Rangers, but only 1 power was hers alone. It makes sense to use that one. All I can think of, it was cheaper to make the duplicate turbo suits versus the Zeo suits. It was too short for its own good. In some sense, I rather want more from an episode than feel like it screwed something up or wasted time like Once a Ranger. I wish we saw new morphs for each of the Rangers. I always prefer if they recreate the original effects as close as possible rather than do something new. You lose that connection to the original show when they change designs. That's what I loved about Gokaiger. When you saw the quick morphs for Wes and Tommy, they had sparkles for Wes and that wispy pattern for Tommy. None of it matches MMPR Time Force. The actual main fight was too fast. Not a lot of banter in the final section. You can see that there was stuff cut out of the episode. No moments with Trent, for example, especially when they showed an extended fight between the 2 Tommies online, and stuff like Tommy's son only being mentioned at the start. The sucky use of Sentai footage in the middle of the episode, I know that was forced onto them. They paid for the footage from the movie Monster. They were going to need to use something from the movie itself, but it does ruin the flow of the episode. It also had some character issues with Sarah. Would she really tie up Brody like that? We know Kasumi would do that. I can also go into nitpicky areas like Tommy's house. It's supposed to be the house scene in Dino Thunder, but it doesn't match. Or Gemma not wanting to blow stuff up every 5 seconds. Those are minor. I don't care about them personally. Ultimately, those don't detract from the episode itself. I'm happy it came out as good as it did. Do you agree with my stance? Do you think it's a good episode? Did you find it disappointing? I know some people didn't care for it. If you have suggestions on a future topic you'd like me to do, leave a comment down below. I might pick yours. New episodes every Monday. Next week, 10 ways to improve Justin.